In 1934, an American archaeologist named Junius Bird came to Labrador with his wife Margaret to excavate old Inuit houses for their honeymoon with their guide Heinrich Wiesuk. During 61 days of work, they examined 5 sites near Hopedale. The Avertok Archaeology Project was initiated by the Hopedale community to investigate remnants of Avertok and is led by Dr. Lisa Rankin from Memorial University. In the summer of 2018, the project hired 4 local youth, John Piercy, Denver Edmonds, Nicholas Flowers, and me, Halle Lucy, to work with Dr. Laura Kelvin for her postdoctoral research. Together with Reuben Flowers and Deirdre Elliott, we retraced the steps of Junius Bird's 1934 fieldwork, visiting the sites he excavated.
Junius Bird is a really interesting character, and as you guys have definitely heard before, he is the role model for Indiana Jones and looks a lot like the character in the first movie anyway. He was also a really brilliant archaeologist, but that's not how he originally came to Labrador. Originally, I think as a late teenager, perhaps into his early 20s, he came to Labrador as a deckhand for Bob Bartlett on his boats. And he stopped through Hopedale a couple of times and was quite enamored with it. One of the Moravian missionaries took him out to see the sod houses, and they did a little bit of digging and exploring in them, and Junius Bird never forgot about that. So later in his life, when he became an anthropologist archaeologist and he got married, he brought his wife Margaret, or Peggy I think she goes by, here for their honeymoon, and they excavated a whole series of the houses in Avertok and also houses on Inuit sites close to Hopedale.
Heinrich Wiesuk was an Inuk from Hopedale who was hired to help Junius Bird with his excavations. He was 51 years old at the time. He passed away in 1966 at the age of 83. Descendants of Wiesuk still live in Hopedale today, as well as in Halifax. Not only did he assist with excavation, he also worked as a guide and provided important interpretations for Bird's research. His contributions to Labrador archaeology are extremely valuable. Avertok was a large Inuit winter settlement occupied during the 16th to the 18th centuries. The last occupants abandoned Avertok in 1807. The remains of Avertok are now within the boundaries of present-day in Hopedale.
Okay, Avertok is a really, really interesting place, and it's interesting to archaeologists, and I think it's an interesting part of Inuit history in general, because unlike most Inuit sites that we find on the coast, which just have a couple of houses or one house or a tent ring, like a place that, like your cabin, a place you would go back to each year to do something specific, like hunt or fish or collect eggs or go berrying. Avertok is a really, really big site. It's got many, many, many houses, and people came here from all over the coast. Inuit came here from all over the coast, and they were here, we can tell by the houses, the shape of the houses, they were here sometime between the fall and the spring. And they would come each year and they would get together to hunt bowhead whales here, and that required a lot of expertise. So it required a lot of hunters to work together, whale hunters to work together, and it also required a lot of ceremony, most of it undertaken by the women while the men were hunting. So it meant that a lot of people had to be in one place at one time. So it became a really significant site on the Labrador coast that all Inuit would have known about, and probably all Inuit would have come to at some point or another. And so archaeologically, it has a very specific function, and it's much bigger, so it's kind of fascinating to us.
Although we did not visit Honkluk in 2018, The Avertok Archaeology Project re-examined the site in 2017 for Jacinda Sinclair's master's research.
This site here is one of the 5 sites that was excavated by Junius Bird in 1934. And when Junius Bird came up to Labrador, there really hadn't been any other major archaeological work done concerning the Labrador Inuit. So this site was one of the first places that archaeology happened in Labrador. And it influenced a lot of the ideas that have since come in our archaeology of Labrador. So coming to this site, it's about learning more about the past, but it's also about reassessing what Junius Bird did and said. This site it was an Inuit, we think it was a whaling and hunting village. People probably ate mostly whale and seal at this site. The types of animal bones that we found so far have been seal bones. There were 8 houses originally. And we think that this might be some of the earlier houses in the area, just based on the shape of the houses and the types of things that we are finding or not finding in the area.
Napatulik. Bird recorded 2 large winter houses at this site and 1 tent ring. When we visited the site, we located these features, photographed and filmed them. We also helped Deirdre Elliott use a drone to get aerial photos of the site. Bird recorded 2 groups of house ruins at Illuswatigachuk, totaling 12 houses. Some of them were used as recently as in the late 1800s. When we were there, we were only able to locate 5 because there was still a lot of snow. We also located hunting blinds and caches.
We're here at the Illuswatigachuk sod house island, where the site of the sod houses are just over here, and some tent rings and lots of activity, signs of activity from hundreds of years ago, I guess, by Inuit. A little pond, saltwater pond, is just down here, and we go goose hunting there waiting for geese there in the fall, in September. There's some gauges made out of rocks down there, what different people from Hopedale made. It's a pretty good spot for waiting for geese sometimes. As you can see, it's a nice sheltered harbour. I guess the people back then chose this site partly because of that. And wildlife, this time of year, it's a major eider duck area. The islands around, lots and lots of eggs being laid, so they would have had food then. Char's just nearby, and lots of seals around. And in early winter, when the bay is freezing, there's also lots of seals which they would have survived on. Even during winter, as the winter goes on, there still will be seals to be found at the flow edge, Shina out here. And I guess they stored up enough to last them through the winter. That's what I would imagine. That's the only way they could have survived, I guess, because late winter, when the area all freezes over, seals would be much harder to get until springtime. And berries, a good place for bake apples, all kinds of berries. So I guess it was a good place to live for them.
In 1934, Junius Bird, his wife Margaret, and companion Heinrich Uisuk visited Aniutuk. This site consists of 4 sod houses. They only excavated a portion of a midden and entrance tunnel. In 2007 to 2009, Beatrix Arendt carried out excavation of 2 of the houses and found they were occupied during the 18th century. We did not make it there as a group this summer, but Deirdre went to resurvey the area and take aerial photos with her drone.
I like this project because it's a project that the community asked for, and because it's related to the UNESCO World Heritage application status, because they wanted youth and elders to meet and thought that by studying your own history would be a way to make that happen. I really like this project a lot, and I think more projects should be done in this fashion. I think it's so important, and I'm so glad you guys are all participating in this and all of the other projects that are going on around Labrador right now. I mean, you guys are you're the future of the communities, you're the future of Nunatsiavut. It's nice that you are interested in learning skills and learning what we're up to. You guys are going to be the guys that have to call us out and say, you know, we don't want that done, or we want to know more about this thing. You're the future leaders of this place, so it's really important, I think, that you get to know as much as you can about your own history, but also how people from outside the communities are approaching your history, and if you're happy with that or not.
My summer job consisted of everything that I love doing, going out on the land and archaeology. Being a part of the Avertok Archaeology Project this summer has definitely prepared me for a big part of my future career. I got to meet new people, interact with the community elders and members, and learn more about the Inuit culture throughout history. This was a great experience for me, and it definitely put me a step in the right direction.
It has been a pleasure to work this summer with my co-workers Denver, Nicholas, and John. Not to forget my boss Laura. This was my first job, and I couldn't think of a better job than this one. I think that archaeology is an important role in my life. I am interested in the things we've learned and discovered. Thank you guys for a great summer. Couldn't have asked for a better outcome.